but I would like to discuss a little bit about this several things. Some people think that during the night, when you're sleeping, had a dream, you are shifting to another kind of dimensional. It's kind of 5D dimensional, as you described, Kaya. And during this state, you may extra choose, like make a choose. What are you doing? And I know the stories when one man become in this state, realized, oh, you may choose another body. So you may try a kind of bigger one body, so a kind of another dimensional. Did you ever heard a kind of these stories?
The first thing I'm getting whenever you said that was, it's kind of going back to what Kai said about when we go to sleep, when we do these things, we are going into other dimensions. And it's really like, that's actually the real world, and this is a dream. So like you were saying, this is actually possibly the dream. It is, that one of the chapters in my mother's book, one of the Convoluted Universe books, is the dreamer dreams the dream. You know, it's like, which one's the real one? You know, this one feels real, but it's actually just a playing out of the real part of us. Okay, so that real part of us is always branching out, having different experiences. One of its experiences is the current body we are focused on. Now, we are also having many other experiences going on at the same time, because it's all from that larger part of ourselves. It's not restricted to this one experience. It's off having many other experiences. So to me, that's what that was indicating. It's like you can now shift your focus to this other experience we're having, or any other one you want to have. And that's actually what happens in a regression session. We are going and visiting other experiences that the bigger part of you is having. You know, you've taken the focus off of this one. We're looking now at this one, at any other one that has relevance to this life, that has anything to teach us about this life. So we can go pop in on any of these things. I have a picture that I draw sometimes that explains that better. I mean, but that explains that period. But that's simultaneous time. When people are trying to figure out how are we doing all these things at once, that's how it is. That larger part of ourselves is having all of these experiences at the same time.
You know, we need a time to understand this concept. Thank you.
But because of how we have developed, we can better understand that concept now than we could 10 years ago. You know what I mean? So before that was like somebody said simultaneous time and you were just like, oh, forget, scrambled brain. and but now it's like, no, I mean, I even have a picture. So it's like, that's how much we have evolved, that we can actually start making sense. We can actually conceive these concepts. Where before it's like we would just throw them away because they were too complicated.
Yes, I agree that the world has changed, because I do remember that how many years Dolores trying to publish her first book and second book, how it was tough with publishing company, and realized that she need to start her own publishing company because she's stuck in it. So it's very good that today we do need less power to understand it. Also, it's easier today than 10 or 20 years ago. I would like to ask you about annual Mountain UFO conference, which will take place in April. I know that Dolores often make a kind of special report on this event. What is going on right now?
Yeah, and that's something, it was impacted just like everything else was impacted by the coronavirus. Did I say that? COVID. This conference has been going on for, I think this is the 33rd year, maybe?
Yes, correct.
And it started, this dear friend of my mother's started it 33 years ago. And my mother was always, you know, involved in it in some way. It was just this man just had this love of UFOs and research and information on that. So he just started a conference where he would bring researchers, experiencers, all kinds of people together to talk about this. And it's like people that believe in this or are wondering about it had a place to come and just be with like-minded people. And it's wonderful to see. It's almost like when you have the live events, and right now I think this will be the first year I'll be going virtual, doing a streaming, because last year it had to be canceled even because of the events. But so this is great. I'm glad to see that it is being presented in this way. I'm not personally involved in it right now, so that's where, I just see it's wonderful to see how it's being done. And that's wonderful that they're doing this and creating a space for like-minded people to come together to be able to get more information, talk, amongst themselves, things like that, to confer. So, but that's what we had the live events. What I was trying to say was so cool is every year it's like a lot of the same people would come back. Some of the same speakers were there year after year, and they always talked about how it feeling like a reunion. It's like family coming together.
Yeah, it's a very great event, and I will invite people from Russia who understand English perfectly to join this event, and I will be glad to come next year, possibly in real, to meet each other and understand how its big family is going on. I would like to visit you and, of course, talk in a person.
Great, when these events can be in live again, because that really will be like a reunion. Everybody coming back after this experience that we all had.
Yeah, great. So keep going on. Do not stop with this UFO conference and, of course, investigation. We are loving it. If we are talking about pure QHTT method from Dolores Cannon, we didn't find any entities in it. Does it real?
No, you're correct. You're not going to have things like these evil forces and dark negative entities, things like that. And this is something that you get when you're in that lighter state. You'll get something appearing to be
Skype session will bring a lot of attachments.
It could. I mean, if you're not getting into that deeper state and asking really good questions that gets you deeper to the real information, then you'll get things but they're telling me right now it's like disguised. Okay. People, we have our things that we're working on, right? Would you say that's a correct statement? We come here to learn lessons. We're working on ourselves. We have things that we're doing. We have things that we're always progressing with, for our own growth. Mm-hmm. Okay. Now, sometimes we have things within ourselves that we need to work on. And sometimes when it's within ourselves, it's a little hard to see. It's easy to see in somebody else. You can work with somebody. Oh, this is what I see going on with you. And it just jumps right out. But with ourselves, it's not so easy to just see that. So if we're not seeing it, or in denial, and like, no, or I don't want to look at that right now, and if it's something that's really, really important for your growth, that you work on this, then your consciousness is going to create something that looks like it's outside of yourself, so that you will face it. You will look at it and you will deal with it. Just like you would help somebody else. Now you're looking at this and going, but the thing is, because it's outside of ourselves, it's like, oh my gosh, it's something that's attacking me.
And yes. And people are trying to fight in with them. So to escape, to avoid, it's a kind of extra class for junior who need these extra classes to get enough knowledge and understanding about world.
Yeah, it's just a matter of understanding it, what it is. It's just something, I like to call it like anything that looks like an attachment or an entity or something like that looks dark natured, negative energy. In fact, I call it fear manifested. Your own fear created this, put it outside of yourself so that you would look at it and deal with it. That's all it is. But you've got to ask the right questions to get down to the core of it as to what it is. It's no different than an illness or something going on with the body. We have to ask more and more questions to get to the understanding of what it is that is going on with that. Why is that there? What is it trying to tell us? It's no different. We created ourselves so that we would work with it. We would take care of ourselves and we would get a better understanding so that we would grow.
So, dear Kaya, does QHTT level 1 or 2 teaching how to work with this kind of situation to avoid this?
Yeah, we go extensively into the situation in level 2. We talk about the construct of entities and the reality of entities and how you best work with that. Julia does this beautiful job, a full lesson, really diving into the dynamics of that. So you leave the class and you feel 100% confident. You don't have to have a fear of, oh my God, what if an entity comes up in my session? You have no fear of that whatsoever. You're fully ready for anything.
If we are talking about negative attachments, did you ever meet, or what you are doing with positive attachments, like a spirit of Jesus or something else? I guess you know this kind of stories.
To me, any attachment, it's like anything that's labeling itself as attachment. It's like, one, it could be, I feel like there's some semantics going on there, and it's maybe a life that had that you're very attached to, and so that can create that energy to be here, and it's like I'm attached, I can't leave it. So maybe there was like a, Jesus was in, if that wasn't, like you're saying, a positive energy like that, it could be maybe the person had a life with Jesus, or he was a figure or somewhere around it, and then now, and they're holding on to that. They don't want to leave that, and that's what they're bringing into this one. Maybe it's a reminder of something, maybe whatever. But there again, ask more questions, and I'd look at when did it start, what was going on at that time, because something happened in their life that was now a need to carry this, positive or negative.
Could you please tell for Russian audience one of the memorable story with regression session?
Gosh, I've had so many, but there's one that I do and we teach from in the level 2 class, and that's where I was killed. I was burned for being a witch, and and that was very memorable. That one, I brought a lot of that into this life. There was a lot of residue that came over. And it's a wonderful learning, and teaching tool for the class. But as far as for me personally, I learned, I'm still learning. I'm still learning. Every time I watch that class and I watch, what we're teaching from it, I'm still learning things that have come over into this life and things that I carry through. So any life, it doesn't have to be something dramatic. It doesn't have to be anything really fantastic. It can be just a simple life, but there'll be something there that's impacting that's has an effect there that you're noticing in this life. And it's like, and that's what I noticed from that one. It's like I had a lot of phobias that I brought over from it, but then also I see a lot of my way I do things. I can see I have a protective nature about myself, and I think it comes from that as well, by things being taken and, things happening against my will, things like that. So I think I tend to, be guarded and stuff. And so it's like, I can work with that life and talk to, it's like, I don't need to be quite that way anymore. They're not going to burn me again. It's not going to happen.
When you're trying to imagine it, it's awful.
Yeah, and that's where, and that was the big lesson, was like, there were so many things in that. But that's where there's layers. What they're telling me now, there's layers like an onion. You have layers and layers that you peel off from it. And that's where as I keep looking at it, I'll get more and more information from it. But that's the way it is with any life. Prairie, it was very simple, nothing going on, but it was very impactful too. So you can have lives, it can be anything.
Okay. Please, Kaya, could you share us?
You'll actually see this in the level 2. It's a session done on me where I'm a member of a council and coming from a star energy, and I really go in depth and I talk about what it's like connecting to this star energy and how we perceive the non-physical world and how we communicate, how we explore. It's a really powerful look into a different, very high form of existence and wisdom and enlightenment. And when I was finished with that session, I felt very, very, very energized. I felt like I still had that energy like pulsating in my body, and I didn't have the capability to feel stress. Like, you know, as humans, we can feel stress very quickly, but it was as if the off switch was turned off and there was no stress in my body whatsoever. And I felt so calm. And really, it's amazing when you can experience these different forms of existence that are higher and bigger than you. And then when you come back into you, you realize you're like, why am I playing this game of life at a low level? Why don't I set my goals a little bit higher? Why don't I shoot for a little more, shoot for the stars a little bit higher? Because I know what I am. I'm more than this.